Hi everybody, hi, welcome to my restaurant live. And yes, we're telling you, your followers, that we have started live. Well, that's really good to know. Chris, hi, how are you? So my guest today is the fantastic and amazing Gizzi Erskine. Now, all I want is Gizzi to make sure she comes on board and we can have a great chat to her. I'm really looking forward to speak to her. I've been trying to get hold of her a long time, by the way. Hi, Antonio. How you doing? Great to see you. Gizzi is one of these incredible chefs that, here we are. Now, who's this? Oh, no, hang on a second. I need to get Gizzi on. Where are you, darling? Hello, Donna Ida. Donna, I'm waiting for Gizzi. I'm waiting for Gizzi to come on. Fish and chips, hello. And oh, hi, darling. Very nice. Thank you very much for calling me sexy. Now, I'm going to press this because I want to find Gizzi wherever she may be. And she's not here just yet. So I will come back. In the meantime, let me tell you, should I come and help? Well, you could do. You could tell Gizzi that I'm waiting for her, I suppose. That would be really nice, Donna. As I'm reading messages in front of my fabulous audience. Yes, I've wanted to interview Gizzi for a long time. She's really an interesting person in every way. Well, I don't want to spoil what I'm going to say because there are so many things I want to say to her and ask her. So there's no point me going to Georgie Hoffman High. And anyway, as I sit here, as always, and wait for her, or wait for the person to join me. Sometimes it says that although I go on live, it takes a little while for them to get their connection through or something. Anyway, in the meantime, let me have a glass of champagne, which of course is absolutely necessary. Well, I've been doing more cooking through this second period of lockdown, if we call it lockdown, I suppose we would do. And there you are, Gizzi, there you are. Now, hang on, where you are, where are you? Gizzi, there you are, send request. There you are. Hi, I can't wait. I've been wanting Gizzi to come on for about 4 months now. It's not that easy, you know, to get on. Here we go, here we go. Here we go. As always. Hello, everybody, by the way. Well, I was wondering where the champagne was. Well, it's here. And we're just waiting. And it says connecting. I love your website, by the way, Stylish Golfer, whoever you are, because I love golf, as you know. Gizzi, I'm still waiting. Now, is Gizzi on, darling?
I should go off. He's just, I don't know.
There you are, gorgeous. Is Donna, is Gizzi on the other line? Because I haven't got her here at the moment. When you say there you are, gorgeous, Donna Ida, you better come over here. Donna's in the other room. Gizzi is unable to join. Now, why is Gizzi unable to join? Wonder why it happened there. Yeah, there she is. Now, wonder why that is. Here we are. View request. Now, go live with Gizzi Erskine. Right, I'm doing another way. Let's see what's happened. Okay, hang on.
Yay!
Hello. Hello.
That
Hi,
was
darling.
weird.
You were on and I couldn't see you. Here we are.
Ah.
Hi, baby.
Hi, which of your babies is that?
Well,
Which one
I'm
of the
Bobby
puppies is
Dazzler.
that?
Is that what you meant? Oh, no. Hang on. Donnie, I've got it, yeah. Gizzi wants to know, this one's Eduardo.
Oh, that's Eduardo. Is that the one that I was cuddling at the party?
No, that's Fernando. Oh, sorry.
Fernando!
I know. Do you want me to get you Fernando?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go.
All right, okay. Hi, darling. How are you?
Do you know what? I'm actually really good. I've
Well,
I've had a really nice time this year. I have no complaints whatsoever.
No.
I mean, there's been a few hiccups. But I feel like spirit-wise, I'm in better spirits, like coming towards the end than I was at the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're in the same position actually, Gizzy. We have a lovely garden here, and I've gone back to my roots and started cooking again, which I've really
I've
enjoyed.
seen.
You've seen? Well, thank you, darling. Oh, hang on. Here's Fernando coming. So I'm going to end up with Fernando. Here we go.
I can't actually see you.
Here's
Here
Fernando.
we go. Oh, Fernando. He's
There's
so
Fernando.
cute.
Okay,
He's still
there's
like
Fernando.
a baby.
I know. He's about, how old is Fernando? 5, I think now.
Oh.
So he's just there. Here, wait, just wait. There you go. Gizzy's got a new cat. Is that right?
I do.
Gizzy, you've got a new cat.
Oh, hang on. Wait a sec.
Where's
the
the
cat is here. I didn't realise. The kitten.
Oh, there you are. Gizzy, I don't know whether it's your line or whether it's mine. Can you see me okay? Your end?
You keep jamming, but can you see me?
Do you want to just go off and come back again? Is that possible?
Should I try? I might try and going off the different, because the Wi-Fi for some reason, maybe it's that. Shouldn't be.
Yeah,
but let me try. Shall I go and come back?
Do you mind? And then do
Not
what you
at
just
all.
did, and then because I want to see you.
Yeah, of course. That's so weird. I'll try again.
Okay. Now, everybody, here we go again. We're going to try, and Gizzy's going to go back and come from another way. And once she does that, she's far more techno than I am, I have to say. And hopefully you're all going to join, and we'll be able to have a bit of a chat in a minute. So far, so I've ended up, let's go for this. No, hot boots, no, hang on. That's not, thank you. Oh, here we are, this one, here we are. Gizzi Erskine and hot. Oh. Why is that? Gizzy, I can't get you. Oh, here we are, Gizzy, good. Let's try. Hopefully that'll work. Hopefully that'll work.
No, not again.
I hope it does.
This is weird.
After all this time, getting her back.
Do you want to go on with the internet? Yeah.
Getting her here. I've been really...
I don't know what to do.
Now, where are we? What's going on here? Why are we not trying as normal here? Connecting.
It can't be you if you're on your 4G. It should just
Press connect, Gizzy, if you can see me. I wonder what's going on. Anyway, I'll just quickly line up a few of the items. Sorry, Donna, that is Clifford. Donnie, have you got, Donna's in the other room. Is Gizzy on yours? Because I can't see her on mine for some reason. Donna, if you're in the other room, do you mind just popping back here and helping me? Gizzy is unable to join again. Why is going on here? Now, what is going on? I don't know. Let's try this way. Donna, let's go here. No, darling, I can't. Something's going wrong here. I'm sorry, everybody. It's such a nightmare. But I can't get on. Look, I press that.
Yeah.
Gizzy. Maybe cancel that and start again. Gizzy is on. Yeah, send request.
Yeah. Oh. Let's try now.
Gizzy, did you want to try linking me into? Here we are.
Yeah,
Do you?
Yeah.
Yes. Ah.
How's that?
Let's try. Okay.
Can you see me?
I got you, and it sounds
Amazing.
clear, and you look fabulous, and it's better.
I'm feeling a bit like dark around the eyeballs.
You look great. You look great. Look, darling, thank you so much.
Did you get to see the kitten? I feel like you didn't.
I didn't know. I saw you just went. No, show me. Oh my God, that's a kitten.
That is a kitten.
That's a big.
This
kitten.
is Mochi,
yeah.
which is actually cat 3. She's like very famous now.
She is very famous. And what sort of cat is she?
She's a Scottish Fold. So she's I sort of decided this is my 3rd cat, and I was like, 3, I'm probably never going to get laid ever again. So, but the fact is that I sort of, I'm 41 now. I'm probably not going to have kids. So I think, fuck it.
We have 3 of these.
Well, exactly. I
We
feel
have
like
3
I've
of
just
these.
followed suit.
Follow suit. So, darling, thank you for coming on. You will be getting your champagne. I have some champagne here, which is always nice. I'm sorry I'm busy, but you're going to get some wonderful Frey Jean-Frey. You will
Yummy.
absolutely love it. It's my favorite champagne.
Yum.
And I really mean that. And I've sort of become I only drink champagne.
Yeah,
Not,
lucky for some.
well, it's the only thing, because I just drink a couple of glasses or one, and then that's enough. I don't need, and ever since I decided I was only going to drink champagne, I've never had a hangover.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
I don't believe it.
I'm
Well, not having it.
It depends on the quantity, I promise you. Now, the reason you're here is I want to talk to you about some food. I love your Instagram. I loved meeting you. Funnily enough, we were ages ago when we first met, because we met at Sophie Michel's wedding.
We did. How much do you miss Sophie? And how much is that the biggest? Like, she's totally lucked out at lockdown.
Yeah,
we should explain that she ended up going on holiday to Barbados and has been locked down in Barbados ever since. And so just packed up and moved over there.
Exactly. Well, I did a live with her. I did one of these restaurant lives with Sophie from Barbados, and that was nice, but not in a way. It was lovely to see her, but of course the backdrop of all the ocean and the palm trees blowing in the wind and all of that was a bit tough to get. But but that's where we first met, and then you came to my gala. You couldn't come this year, but last year, and that. Even this year's one, funny enough, I did a live with Brian earlier on today. Brian Turner, who's so cuddly and lovely.
I love
Brian. And I love him as well, but we've got to get him on Instagram. Anyway, there's another story there. But I mean, whether we're going to change that, I'm not quite sure. But he was at that wedding, and we did a big award this year for Brian at the gala. And I said to Brian, I know, and James Martin wonderfully presented it to him. Mm-hmm. And it was really about how long ago does February seem, when we had 300 people in a room,
Don't. I mean, if we look back to that time, like if we're talking about my year, I started the year, I think I couldn't come because I had pleurisy. So I started the year setting up my first real proper restaurant, the Nightery, which was at the Sergeant's Lane, with pleurisy. And then, that wasn't much fun. So, and then, that I had a restaurant for 5 weeks. Until it all went tits up.
Oh, well, but you said, though, look, I want to go back. I don't want to lose this time, because you've got to go off and do some photo shoots and other bits and pieces soon. So I want to know a bit about you. I could talk wonderfully with you, just talking about all kinds of stuff, but I need to know, I want to find a bit about you, because I know about you, but I don't know all about you. And so didn't you start without going, where did you find your love for food? Because there's one bit I really want to come to with you, because I want to talk to you about something soon. But didn't you go to Leith School or years and years of whenever it was ago? Probably.
I did. I was already chefing. So I have a friend, I'm pretty sure you must know Will Ricker. Do you know Will?
Right, yeah.
So this was back probably the end of the 90s, 2001. I've been a body piercer for about 7 years. And I had decided I wanted to cook, I mean, I'd always cooked. My mum's a brilliant home cook. We travel a lot for her work, and we sort of really bonded over eating. And I think, I left school when I was 15. And when I left school, I was sort of was really frustrated that I never fulfilled having an education, went straight into an apprenticeship to be a piercer, which was brilliant. It was an amazing career and taught me so many things. But then I had decided that I wanted to cook. Will was a friend. He was like, come and work with me. So I worked under Ian Pengelly for a while.
Right, yeah.
At E&O, and then went over to Great Eastern Dining Rooms when they launched. And Will was like, if you enjoy it, then go to Leiths. Because Leiths, I mean, I was either going to go to Westminster or Leiths. And Westminster is essentially a community school. Everywhere, you know, loads of big chefs have come out of Westminster, but it was a 3-year course. And my grandmother had sadly just passed away, and I'd been given an inheritance, and I was only allowed to take it before I was 20 something, 25, if it went on property or education.
All right.
So I was like, you know, I was like, I took this. It wasn't a big inheritance. It was just literally enough to get me in the door to the school. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to go and do that instead. And it was the best move I ever did. I went to Leeds, and it was literally one of the best things I ever did.
Brilliant. This is Leeds as in Prue Leeds.
As in Prue Leith.
Yeah.
Prue had sort of passed it over onto Caroline Watergrave at that point. Caroline, without that woman, I would certainly not be doing what I'm doing, because Leeds is a private school, and I think a lot of people who go to that school are probably more privileged than I was at the time. And I had to work all the way through it. You know, I was still piercing on the weekends. And I was working in restaurants at night and doing stagiaires basically all over the place at the same time. And I just got to this point where I was exhausted. I mean, I was absolutely on my knees, and I passed out. I've never passed out before. I've never passed out since. And she literally scooped me up off the floor, took me into her office and said, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I'm absolutely knackered." And she gave me the last term's worth of money back as a loan. So I didn't have to work. Oh God, it was making me a bit emotional. So without her, you know, I would have not been able to have finished school. And then in turn, it was really valuable, because I ended up winning both the Leeds Prize and the BBC Good Food Prize. So I ended up going, still carrying on in restaurants, but going to do a placement at BBC Good Food for what ended up, it was meant to be 6 months, but it ended up being about 10 or 11, yeah.
Right, amazing. Well, that's fantastic. So then the next bit. So I was sort of going back. So how did suddenly this jump into, did you go into restaurants, or did somebody pick you up for TV? Because there wasn't the cook yourself thin bit quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time. I mean, everyone thinks I'm young. I'm 41. So
well, you are, darling. Let me tell you, you are young. You are very.
But I started at basically when I was at Leeds, I was still poor, so I was going and like hustling like mad to try and break even. And I live in East London and on Brick Lane, and a friend of mine had a art gallery, and we basically turned the art gallery. She was like, "I want to do something that isn't canapes. What can we do? You know, I don't want to have that like warm wine canapé thing as for my previews." And I was like, "Well, why don't we just do a long table event, and I'll cook, and we'll see who wants to pay for the tickets." And essentially it was like one of the first pop-up restaurants. So this was literally 20 years ago. So that's kind of how I hustled my way through school, was doing these pop-up restaurants. So
and when you think about where you were in those days, Brick Lane was the curry house. It was basically the place to go for the greatest curry in the UK, probably. So this was quite a different type of cuisine that you were doing.
Yes, it was. I mean, I was doing a stagiaire at St John, bread and wine. Well, I was between.
By the way, somebody said they think you're in your early 30s, darling.
Thank you very much. I was about to say it's the lighting. This is the worst lighting I've ever. I'm like looking at myself going, "Who am I?" So I was doing a stagiaire, which is you know, basically work experience. You know, I was meant to be at Bread and Wine, but I would do the odd day at St John. And so St John Bread and Wine was on just on Commercial Street, which is the back of Brick Lane. And it was kind of like, I grew up in Asia, so we were doing this combined sort of Thai meets big cuts of meat. It was quite a hearty food. It was certainly not your classic gallery lounge food. It was completely haphazard. I never made a penny from it. But it was really cool, and people got excited about it, and loads of people started to just pop in to see what it was about, and then it became a big scene. And I think back in those days, the only people who I know who were doing it were really Nuno Mendes with Loft Project, Carl Clark, who had a variety of different things all over the place, and Bistrotech. So we were definitely the first people, I think, in London doing those kind of events.
And is that where that book and program came from?
No,
Cookies?
not at all.
So how?
Oh my God, TV is something I really have hated. It's not what I want to do. I've got a really love-hate relationship. I don't hate it. But Cook Yourself Thin happened. So I'd met Sophie, weirdly, when I was at Good Food. So I was there for a year as a cookery assistant. And I'd been working with her, going off to these lovely events, which you're always invited to, as I'm sure you are. And met Sophie at this sort of like private dinner that she was chefing at. And I knew who she was. So I was a bit of a fan. And we just got on like a house on fire. And then circumstantially, I was working, after I left Good Food, I was working behind the scenes on a lot of TV shows. So like it's called Being a Home Economist. But I was working on Ready Steady Cook in the audience as a recipe writer. I think it was on Ready Steady. But one of the producers is James Winter, who ended up doing Saturday Kitchen.
Right.
Was there, and he was like, I'm doing this new show called Taste. Would you like to be a presenter? And I was like, absolutely not, you know. And then kind of like I ended up going and having a proper meeting about it. I can't really piece together exactly what happened, but I think I got bullied into doing this slot on a show, and it's so bad. It's actually on YouTube. I'm unrecognizable. I'm like this fey little girl, like literally quivering. Sort of. You are
different. You do look very quite prim and proper, actually.
In that show.
In that show, yes.
Yeah,
when you look at your Instagram, it's sort of almost. I'm not going to say it's anything other than prim and proper, but it's very Gizzi of today and not Gizzi of yesterday.
I think more than anything, like Gizzi of today has always been there. I think I made a huge mistake, which was conforming for what I thought telly wanted of me in this one show.
Right.
So I actually went in like a normal girl outfit, and I had at the time I had the side of my head shaved. If you look really closely, you can see it.
Right.
And I've put my hair over it, but it's like properly shaved. You know, I'm covered in tattoos.
I know. I know.
And I just thought I had to cover up. I just assumed I assumed that position, and actually. That as soon as I did that, I felt so uncomfortable. I mean, I was uncomfortable.
But you still do. You were on Sunday Brunch a couple of weeks ago or so. You still do the slots.
I stopped doing TV 5 years ago, properly, because I do big shows. Really, that's kind of what I broke through into. And I decided that I wasn't getting the value that I wanted in my own life and existence from it. I wanted to be taken a bit more seriously. I knew my caliber as a chef was much higher than just being a TV cook. And I knew that I wanted to go into businesses. So I literally was just like, this isn't what I'm getting thrills from. Businesses, I'm going to push businesses. The business side of things. So I've opened like several businesses since then. Some have failed massively. Some of them haven't worked out for whatever reason. But some of them have been hugely successful, and I feel much happier now. So this year I've started to look back into doing TV again, but only under my terms.
Good. Well, I love your drive, enthusiasm. I also like your honesty, you know, I mean, look, we all have the failures. We all have you can't have successes without failures. I mean, that is no, well, you know, there might be, I don't know, Bill Gates might be one of you. You might get a few lottery winners like that. But other than that, the normal person, what in life has good times and has bad times, you know. But I quite like the fact is that, you know, we have redesigned what we do with Young Chef, Young Waiter this year, which I run and own and love it, and we've also had to redo the other event I run is the revealing of the new Michelin stars. And we've had to look at how we're going to run that, because that was normally 450 people at a location, and everyone and the chefs arrive and they get up and they have their wonderful Michelin jacket, and we have to redo that. But I like to think
like you or you're like me, I like to think that if a door gets shut, then that's fine. We open the other one, and that other one's wider and bigger, and there's many more opportunities out there. And there's lots of, oh, somebody's got
Bill Gates like this.
Sorry. Well, I just used it as an example about, he probably hasn't had too many downtimes, but anyway. But, and so, you know, you've had to look at things differently. And for me this year, we talked in the very beginning about how this year for me has given me the opportunity to cook again. And I've so enjoyed cooking again, and so enjoyed the thought of, I'm a chef and a restaurateur, and I bought my first restaurant when I was 24 years old, and I produced my first menu, and always producing a menu for, and then I still have a share in a hotel, but I cooked, I used to call it cook for money, from 24 to about 40, maybe a bit for, anyway, whenever it was, it doesn't really matter. And but suddenly I got the same philosophy now when I just do one dish. But I think about that one dish, I think about everything, whether I'm doing Hasselback potatoes, or whether I'm doing a lobster thermidor or a beef Wellington or a whatever. I think about it as a chef, and it's really been fabulous for me.
I had the same, actually. You know, I'd been in setting up the Nice Tree took about 3 months. I had the most phenomenal team. This was like the best thing I ever did, but also the most frustrating, in that we opened. We were open for 5 weeks, closed on the Thursday, and then on the Saturday, Giles Corrin gave us a 5-star review, which was just like. And then after that but you know, it's one of those things that, is it box ticks? Do I want to try this again? I'm not sure. I feel like for now that was great. Anyway, the point being was that lockdown made me, and this is something that I find very difficult, actually have to sit down and take stock and, you know, reassess all this stuff. And yes, I've been sort of tenacious. I'm saying tenacity is so important. I've been really tenacious and utilized the situation circumstantially to my advantage, but without purposely looking at it from my advantage. The things that have been successful to me through lockdown have just been me having to hustle, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
I think so.
But actually what you're talking about, that relationship with food again. So, you know, you're so invested in a restaurant in making these dishes so perfect that you kind of dissect them which is how I assess my cookery writing for my books as well, but in a different way, in a way that it's like, you know, it's almost too obsessive in a restaurant. To actually sit back and be a home cook again has been joyful. I don't get to do that.
Gizzi, I am so on that wavelength. I have, if I'm doing a dish, whatever it is, I'm going to post out later, an Italian meatball dish. Italian meatballs, I mean, simple as that. But I thought about it, I've planned it, I know where I was going to put everything. So although it looks I do it and I send it out, I just say to everyone, you know, you've got to just think about what you're doing. Now, this is home cooking, so I was cooking for 1 or 2, well, it's just Donnie and I here, so it doesn't say, it's not that, we don't need loads. But I tend to cook then and freeze a few down and prepare. If I'm doing chicken soup, I'll make loads of chicken soup and I'll put it in the freezer. And I've got all this stuff. And I made some soup the other day, which I posted out, and I've already done it 2 or 3 times. I reckon that soup, because I use the carcass of the chicken, costs about £4, and that made 7 portions of fantastic soup.
Well, this is it.
And so it just helped people, hopefully. Now, look, let me dive into something else, because I don't want to. There's a few questions I want to ask you. So books, you've got loads of books. I love the title. I've not seen it. I thought we had one of your books here. I said to Donnie, I've got one of your.
You do. I'm sure you do.
We do. I've got a whole. There are 35 books over there.
Just bear with me. I'm running to go and get the new one because I thought I had it next to me, and I don't. Yes. So slow was the one I think you've got, or you might have.
We've definitely got some. The one that I quite like. I saw Kitchen Magic, and I saw Weekend Feasts. Quite like that. The terminology of that one. I don't know when you wrote that one, but whenever that was. Those
were a long time ago. I think I guess the one I'm most I don't know, it's really hard. Like this is my 6th book. So this is
Right.
Restore. This is the one that's coming out this
Restore,
week.
yeah. This
Coming
is the
out on
latest.
Thursday.
Fantastic.
And it's about restorative agriculture, restorative eating, restorative thinking, like just looking after yourself and the planet, essentially. Which for me has been like such a journey. I mean, I wrote a book called Slow, which was my last one, which was, if I'm honest, probably my favorite book I've ever written. My first one, you're always going to be attached to your first. So Kitchen Magic is, but I've grown up so much. So I started doing this very young, as I've said. And I feel like I've grown up so much. I remember when I was at Good Food and I'd had like pieces in Good Food and the Evening Standard and tried to get into the Guild of Food Writers. And they were like, no, you're too young. What have you got to say for yourself? And I'm like, fuck you, sorry, pre-Watershed, but I was so pissed off. And it really stayed with me. Even now, they kind of want me to join them, and I feel I'm so prickled by it still. It's been like 20 years. But the truth is, I have had to look at a lot of my growing up within this industry and go on, God, you know, like the last 2 books for me are the best because they're grown up. Actually, they're things which are really, I've learned technically how to write in a much better way.
Yeah.
I'm a better cook. The details of what that I think are really critical, knowing what food people want. Slow was so simple. It was about really good ingredients. It was about the slow food movement and slow cooking. It was a simple format.
Yeah,
and the food was actually, well, my food's never that simple because it might be trying to push a certain technique or an ingredient to really fall for. And I'm a real chef and I want to push chefy techniques. I'm not a corner cutter when it comes to cookery. And I don't want to do things in 5 minutes or quick meals. I want to show you how to do something properly. I feel like we've lost the properly in a lot of cookery writing.
I agree. And cook, and you know, when you do your videos, which are great. And by the way, there's some super messages here. Gizzi, I believe you've made so many positives from lockdown. You did the cooking show with Green podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I've got
I did a thing.
Is that with
Professor Green?
So I've got here Gizzi Green. This was what was this with the pizzas?
So and the
filling. Is this a pop-up?
It was. It's now going into be a proper business. So me and Stephen, Professor Green and I have been best mates for years. Like he's I'm literally going, we've got business launching soon, so I've got to go meet him in a minute. So he's one of my lockdown bubble people. But we are I heard someone talking about the Thomas of Savoy being a mission. Sorry, I will ignore all the comments because there's
well, no, there's loads of them here. There's loads of great comments here. You know, been learning a lot about all of the bits and pieces. Yeah. But
so Stephen and I have been best friends. He went to Morocco to hang out with his girlfriend while she got her dad ready for lockdown in Morocco, and then lockdown happened. So he got locked down over there for 3 months,
right?
And was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, I don't, and it was a very serious lockdown there. All your, I think, ingredients were delivered to you, and you were, it was very limited. So
yeah, you always needed a certificate to go out, didn't you? Almost.
I think you did. I think you did.
Yeah.
So I taught him how to make a spaghetti bolognese, which was kind of like toing and froing on Instagram, like just on stories. And then all of a sudden we get this, he's like, I want you to teach me on Instagram Live how to make fried chicken because I'm missing my fast food, because he's a big fast food eater. So we put the ingredients up, did this cook along, bit like what we're doing now. And it went bananas. Everyone went nuts for it. Then the next week we did a Big Mac, and that went viral. It went around the world. It was in New York. It was in Australia. Like people went potty for it. So we ended up doing it weekly, and then we got to pizza, and pizza being the classic old school Americana style stuffed crust. We just made the most. I mean, I've been using a specific type of dough for years. It's a rye bega from a place called Bread Station, who I actually get the dough. It's a slow ferment, 3 days, made with a rye bega, but it's a white organic flour. I sort of taught people how to make that version, a 3-day rise in the fridge. And so we did this stuffed crust pizza, and it was really good. So it's like I've never seen anyone try to sort of elevate that style of pizza. You had your Pizza Huts, you had your Domino's, you had your Papa John's, but nobody had really excelled it. You know, you had the gourmet burger trends and you had gourmet fried chicken. We didn't want to really be gourmet. We want to be junk food, but we really had this brilliant product. And so we thought, well, why don't we just focus in on that, make it really great, and take it to takeaway market. So we found a friend of mine had a restaurant with a big pizza oven everyone was on furlough. And we were like, well, let's take everyone off furlough, get the restaurant up and running, but just do delivery. And that week we went to open, then lockdown got lifted. So we were able to open the restaurant socially distanced under all those COVID rulings. And it was a smash. We sold over 15,000 pizzas in like 3 months.
Fantastic. Well done. And so now that I mean, if on that basis, it's a proven concept. It's a winner. I love the name. Is that the name? I love the name.
So Gizzi Greens is the name of, we've got a company now which is called Gizzi Greens, and we're doing lots of different things through that, you know. Name. But we're going to focus on different types of fast food. So we've got the pizza pies, which is what we're focusing on first. We're doing something today with Grey Goose, which is a really delicious burger that people can buy at home. And so you can buy, it's like a recipe kit. So you can buy it. We'll be talking about it in a day or two, but we're launching that tonight. So it's
with Grey Goose?
Through Grey Goose, yeah. Vodka.
Right, okay. Amazing.
So, you know, it's great. It gives us loads of different avenues. We were hopefully getting a book. We've got, we're looking at, you know, that we've had a lot of interest for telly. So it's fun. I mean, I don't know if I want to do telly like that yet, but I feel like I'm open to it.
Well, you are always full. I haven't met you as often as I'd like to meet you. I haven't had you because of all these silly things and getting just to chat with you. That's all we want. That's all I wanted to do. I've had some amazing people on this little section, you know.
I bet you have. Well, everyone loves you. That's why.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. And it's so lovely. But it's just that you get tight in this lockdown period. And I've got Thomas Keller coming on soon. I
sat next to him at his restaurant once. That was very nice. He probably doesn't remember me.
He is one of my dearest friends. I promise you.
Really?
Went to the 20th. Oh yeah,
Thomas. Send him my love. It's like.
Well, I will send him your love. I will send him a section of this and say I had Gizzi and she sends a love. I'll send it over later on today because Thomas is as. For me, he is as good as it gets. I don't know, you know, and not only is he as good as it gets, his whole personality, his whole persona is as just calming, generous, warm, and you would never know. I've
never met a chef as calm as that.
Yeah, genuinely. I mean, really.
Most of them are like me, like suffering from extreme ADHD, impossible to pin down. And then you've got like him, and he's suave.
Well, it's just, I actually did, nobody knows this, but I mean, they can obviously go see it. I did a twice baked potato. And if you go onto Thomas Keller's Instagram, I've been loving Instagram, by the way. I have become an addict to Instagram, and I'm a lot older than you, my darling. And but you've got to feed it all the time, literally, to coin a phrase. But it's so much fun, and you get so much rewards from it because people seem to be so nice on it most of the time.
It's called appeasing your own narcissism, I believe. Everyone's constantly telling you you're great or like wanting to know more about what you're interested in. So it's just creating a load of...
I'm not a Twitter person, and I really do nothing else. But Donna helped me and got me into this, and now I've really enjoyed doing just Instagram. But so I watched Thomas do a twice baked potato, which he had at one of his restaurants in New York. And I thought, I'll do that. And I did it. Now, Thomas takes an hour to do this. I did it in probably half an hour. But Thomas is just the way he holds the potato. I mean, it's like, it's like, you need to, anyway, you know what I'm saying. If anyone knows this guy, he's a French Laundry per se. He's one of my dearest friends, but as a
he's
chef.
known for doing like this really meticulous three Michelin starred food. He was like one of the sous vide's like biggest, one of the people who pushed the sous vide most out of anyone at the very, very early days. But now he does this brilliant masterclass, which is it sort of he shows how to cook everything properly. I feel like that. And somebody's saying your potato video was amazing.
Yeah, well, that's nice. That's nice. Well, that's good. I've got some. I'm just flying through. There's so many messages. Let me come to something else for you, because
I've got 5 minutes, just so you know.
Okay.
I've got to get over to Stevens.
Right. Okay. I'm going to quickly do this, but I won't mention. I'm not going to go into Avant Provocateur. I'm not going to go into.
You can.
Well, I can. Well, I was going to talk to you.
14 women at 41 years old getting to do that campaign. Who's a chef? That's completely blown my mind. I'm like, I'm so pleased that happened. It was like so weirdly out of character. You'd believe it or not.
Well, and, on the basis of that and your new podcast, I think you're probably the only guest I need to actually come back, because I haven't had enough time to run through some of this crazy stuff you're doing. But the final bit, just about food, because the other stuff takes us into another world altogether. Yeah. But you're so open and honest that whereas I'm thinking, how do I ask questions about this? But you're just so open and honest, and you would love it. I'd love to talk to you about it. But just quickly, the soil. You know, when I was in Greece, we were in Greece for a month. And I looked at blue zone food, and the blue zone is there are 5 blue zone regions in the world, and blue zone is where basically the people who live the longest live in those blue zone areas. And the key,
I've heard it called something else. So you tell me this.
So the key, one of the keys is the soil. One of the keys is the soil, because everything comes from the soil. And I know it was one thing that you really started to, and whether you're looking at now or how you go forward, but
did you know that the reasoning that is so gardeners live longer. So if you've just started gardening, that's a really great thing. And the reason being is that if you've got soil with a good microbiome, you can't help but ingest it. So if you're playing around in the soil, or you're eating fruit and veg from soil that has a good microbiome, that soil, a single teaspoon of soil, has more microbial diversity than the whole of the human body. So without that good soil, we're absolutely screwed. Now, the problem is we now live in a world of, even if we're not GM in this country so much, it's still single crop rotations. And without, what that means is the soil's starting to die out. It has no ability to, what you used to do was regenerative farming, which is the sort of way we look at it before, but it's you have to keep changing the farm to the thing you're growing in it. So animals would be reared, and then the next season, next year they'd be put into a different field. And what that would do would be constantly treading all the good sort of different types of bacteria, spores, worms, seeds. You know, their poo is like the best thing you could ever imagine, you know. And that's what installs carbon into the soil. Without that, we are screwed. And now a lot of crops, vegetable crops particularly, are now just being in these one plain fields, which are just, the soils are just done to death. Some of them only have 6 years life left in them, and then we're looking at GM as a solution. So that these blue zones you're talking about, we need to be taking nods.
Well, you have a look. There's only 5 blue zone regions in the world. One of them was in Akaria, which was very close to where we were in Mykonos, which is 50 miles away. And there's a chef there called Diane Kochilas, who I also interviewed on my live when she was in Akaria. And we were talking about blue zone, and they're small communities often, but it's all about home produce. Everything is grown where it is. The community is very important. The people, your lifestyle, of course, stress, very important. But those whole blue zone route is really, really incredible, Gizzi. And it's something that I really started to get into and start to study. And to that point, I mean, I actually, nothing against Waitrose or anyone else, but I actually don't buy any food from anywhere apart from my gorgeous farm shop up the road here, which is as fresh as I can get, and apart from my own garden, which I've really enjoyed. So, but it's something that I enjoyed just reading a little bit about when I was coming on today before this, and something that you should have a look at, Blue Zone. And
I will
there's only,
do.
as I say,
I've heard
locations
it called
around.
something completely different. So
Well, the Blue Zone areas, as I say, there's 5 around the world, but everyone who lives in the Blue Zone area
is living life well.
longer. Well, they live longer than anyone else in the world. So on that basis, darling,
go.
I know, it's fantastic to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Nice.
Sorry that it was a bit of a full start.
Don't worry.
Time lucky and all that.
No, it's perfect, and we'll do another one we'll do another one. I want to finish this off because there are those 2 bottom questions which sound very interesting to ask you about, but I'm not quite sure where I start. But anyway, darling, you go off, have lots of success. Keep close.
Thank you everyone for watching. That's so kind, and yeah, thank you so much, and love to Donna as well. Think to see you both very soon.
See you soon, darling. Bye bye now. Bye.